It was a big week in professional wrestling this week. The New Japan Cup final show was on Wednesday. We've got Strong Style Evolved on Sunday. House of Hardcore has arguably their biggest show of all time tonight. And Billy Corgan's National Wrestling Alliance will have their world champion Nick Aldis at that show. So we'll talk about that as well as what's going on with Ring of Honor as they build towards Super Card of Honor. And everything else going on in pro wrestling outside the world of WWE. If you're looking for WWE content, we will have This Week in WWE up later. But before we get to everything that happened in the world of professional wrestling, want to ask those who have not done so already to please hit that subscribe button to make sure you're not missing out on any of the videos we put out from Spoiler-Free Wrestling. It also helps this channel grow and be seen by more people. Okay, so on Wednesday, Zack Sabre Jr. became just the 11th man to win the New Japan Cup. We did a post-match show on Wednesday, and so I don't want to spend too much time on Zack Sabre Jr.'s New Japan Cup win, but I did want to dive into a topic we briefly covered during that post show, and that is the names of some of Zack Sabre Jr.'s moves. If you recall, he defeated Hiroshi Tanahashi as well as several others in the New Japan. Well, he defeated Naito, then he defeated Kota Ibushi, then he defeated Sonata in the semifinals, then he defeated Tanahashi, causing him to submit to a modification of a over-the-shoulder single-leg Boston Crab, or a calf slicer combination. But when Zack Sabre Jr. does the move, he calls it orienteering with napalm death. The name of the move again for you is orienteering with napalm death. So when we discussed this on Wednesday, I thought, oh, Zack Sabre Jr. must just be a twisted individual who comes up with sadistic names for his submission holds. Turns out it's not that. Orienteering with napalm death is the name of a comedy routine by a British comedian named Stuart Lee. Evidently, Stuart Lee went to school with members of the British heavy metal band Napalm Death. And throughout the course of his education with them, he went orienteering with them. So he went orienteering with Napalm Death. Zack Sabre Jr. heard this comedy routine and said, what a perfect name for an over-the-shoulder single-leg crab. So I was a little disappointed about that. I had thought that maybe just Zack Sabre Jr. was this creative, yet slightly mad individual who maybe has more in common with Minoru Suzuki than we had previously thought. Turns out he just has a lot of weird names for his moves. So I started going through just on his Wikipedia page, and he has a double wrist clutch reverse octopus hold. I mean, really, I don't know when any of these moves are occurring with Zack Sabre Jr. Just at all times, he looks as though he's bending his opponent's limbs in several which direction. Like he could have several of these moves on at the same time. Probably. But the double wrist clutch reverse octopus hold, he calls hypernormalization. So I looked that up, and hypernormalization is the name of a 2016 BBC documentary by British filmmaker Adam Curtis. In the film, and I'm just reading the actual description of the film. In the film, Curtis argues that since the 1970s, governments, financiers, which I think is a fancy way of saying people who invest in things, and technological utopians have given up on the complex real world and built a simple fake world that is run by corporations and kept stable by politicians. Zack Sabre Jr. evidently saw this film and said, what a perfect name for a double wrist clutch reverse octopus hold. Zack Sabre Jr.'s move names get even weirder, as he has a double wrist clutch octopus hold that he calls, and this one is really more of a full paragraph than like a name you would give something, but this move is called Hurrah! Another year, surely this one will be better than the last. The inexorable march of progress will lead us all to happiness. So, if you're wondering what the shit that was all about, hurrah, another year, this one, or surely this one will be better than the last. The inexorable march of progress will lead us all to happiness is the 2004 EP by post-rock band Youth Movie Soundtrack Strategies. I would also like to point out that the band Youth Movie Soundtrack Strategies also has a unique approach to naming things. So Zack Sabre Jr.'s weird move names don't stop there. He also has a move, it's an elevated wrist lock that he calls the Jim Breaks armbar. Well, Jim Breaks is an old British wrestler. He's now 80 and was actually arrested last year for assaulting his 47-year-old partner, and she ended up dying as a result. Now, I don't want to draw any conclusions. He is in his 80s, and I do kind of remember, like, Vern Gagne. If this story turns out to be completely bullshit, I'll put a little disclaimer on the thing. But Vern Gagne, I'm quite certain was in a home, like an assisted living home, when he was in his 80s. And he ended up assaulting and killing somebody as well. So you don't want to jump to any conclusions. There could be like a dementia thing at play. Not really sure. But Jim Breaks, an older British wrestler. He held the British lightweight title. He feuded with Johnny Saint, who's, of course, a very famous British wrestler. So Zack Sabre Jr., he has another move. It's a modified double underhook guillotine choke that he calls the Young Boy Killer. Now, that makes sense when you're in New Japan Pro Wrestling because the trainees coming up are called Young Boys. I worry that the name of this move might sound strange to people who aren't aware of that, however. Anyway, Zack Sabre Jr. from March 9th to March 21st, those were the dates from the New Japan tournament, his stock rose considerably throughout the course of that tournament. And now on April 1st at Sakura Genesis, he will be taking on Kazuchika Okada. Now, some of the people that I've talked to about this match, and some of the people that are talking about it online, aren't giving Zack Sabre Jr. much of a chance to go on and win the IWGP Heavyweight Championship from Kazuchika Okada. The reasoning for this, I think, is flawed. But the belief is that Kazuchika Okada is one win away from tying Hiroshi Tanahashi's record for the most, title defenses in a single reign. Okada, throughout the course of this reign, he's held it for 640 plus days, and he's defended it 10 times. Tanahashi's record is 11. So the next one he gets will tie him for the record. So some people believe, they wouldn't have had him go this long with the title if he wasn't going to break all the single reign records for it. But my thought is, there's nothing that says they wouldn't cut his title reign short before he breaks these records. There's nothing that says New Japan Pro Wrestling ever wants their stories to fit in that neat a little package. Hiroshi Tanahashi made it all the way to the finals of the New Japan Cup. And had he beat Zack Sabre Jr., the story would have been Tanahashi trying to defend his single reign title defense record against the current champion who's trying to beat him to tie it. That would have wrapped up in a neat little package for New Japan Pro Wrestling. And if it was WWE or any other, or lots of other promotions, that's probably what they would have done. But you can't just always do what's wrapped up in a neat little package for you, or else it becomes too easy for fans to be able to predict your booking. And that's something that I feel New Japan Pro Wrestling does well. I mean, there's lots of times in New Japan Pro Wrestling, like any other company, where you can kind of be like, oh, I know what's going to happen here. And that's fine. But New Japan Pro Wrestling, I think, and this is my subjective opinion, more than any other company, will throw you realistic curveballs. Like, not the Vince Russo, I'm going to swerve you just because you didn't see it coming. They'll do we'll have Zack Sabre Jr. win 4 straight matches via submission. Not because it's the best story for us to go to, but it's hey, this guy realistically has a unique style that he could improve upon and get better throughout the course of his time in New Japan Pro Wrestling. So instead of going with the neat little package story of Tanahashi trying to defend his record, why not just build a new star in Zack Sabre Jr.? Well, if you're going to get rid of the neat little packaged story of Tanahashi defending his single title reign record, why not just get rid of the neat little package storyline altogether and have Zack Sabre Jr. beat Kazuchika Okada? I'm not saying it's going to happen, or even that it's likely to happen, but it could happen. There's no reason to go into this match thinking that Kazuchika Okada is for sure going to win. He's not for sure going to win. Zack Sabre Jr. could easily win this match. Kazuchika Okada also has Kazuchika Okada more than likely will win this match, but Zack Sabre Jr. winning is entirely possible. Kazuchika Okada is only 30 years old. If they cut this title reign short, there's nothing that says his next title reign can't break Tanahashi's records. In fact, if you have Okada break all the records now, while he's still just 30, what the heck are you going to do with the guy when he's 35 and still in his athletic prime? What does his character shoot for then? It might not be a bad idea to have him lose the title now to give him more to shoot after later. But I don't think New Japan Pro Wrestling is going to make decisions based on that. I think they're going to make decisions based on, hey, what realistically would happen, what could happen, and what should we have happen. Seems to be how they go. But just before we get off of New Japan Pro Wrestling, I want to quickly run down the upcoming matches. Then we'll move into Ring of Honor and the House of Hardcore shows. But Zack Sabre Jr., if you look at his statistics on Cage Match or the Internet Pro Wrestling Database, I'm using Cage Match right now just because I find it a little bit easier to do advanced searches on it. But if you look at his stats from just New Japan Pro Wrestling, and Zack Sabre Jr., I mean, he's wrestled just 49 matches for the promotion, and his first 2 matches, aside from he participated in a battle royal back in 2011, while he was with, I believe he was with Pro Wrestling Noah at the time, or at least that's where he was doing his wrestling in Japan at the time. So it wasn't until about 16 months ago, in November of 2016, when New Japan Pro Wrestling traveled to England for the Global Wars show with Rev Pro Wrestling, which Zack Sabre Jr. is the British heavyweight champion for Rev Pro, and he was the British heavyweight champion heading into this Global Wars show on November 10th, 2016. Zack Sabre Jr. would actually drop the title in that match to Katsuyori Shibata. However, Zack Sabre Jr. would then travel to Tokyo for New Japan's anniversary show in 2017. So that was a little over a year ago now. And Zack Sabre Jr. defeated Shibata and won back his Rev Pro British Heavyweight Championship. The win over Shibata earned Zack Sabre Jr. a shot at the Never Openweight Championship the next month at Sakura Genesis, which, was a year ago. It was last April. And Goto defeated Zack Sabre Jr. there. But after that, there was nothing that happened in 2017 that kind of said this was a guy to look out for, that that he was somebody New Japan Pro Wrestling was going to push to the point that he's been pushed now after the 2018 New Japan Cup. So if you go, he was entered into the G1 tournament last year. It was his first time in the tournament, and he went 5-4, which is totally decent. In fact, for somebody's first tournament, it's great. But it didn't really show that Zack Sabre Jr. is going to be a top guy in the company the next year. So the first night of the tournament, he defeated Hiroshi Tanahashi, which was a big win for him. And that would earn him a title shot at Zack Sabre Jr.'s Intercontinental Championship at the Destruction in Hiroshima show in September. And Tanahashi would avenge his loss there, and he would defeat Zack Sabre Jr. However, then in the New Japan Cup final, Zack Sabre Jr. avenged that loss. So now he and Tanahashi have wrestled 3 times, and Zack Sabre Jr. has won twice. So after that first night in the G1, he lost to Kota Ibushi, but he has since avenged that loss in the New Japan Cup. He defeated Yoshihashi. He defeated Bad Luck Fale. I would like to re-watch Zack Sabre Jr. versus Bad Luck Fale from last year, just because Zack Sabre Jr. is so thin and Bad Luck Fale is not as thin. I just picture Zack Sabre Jr. kind of like worming around Bad Luck Fale, trying to grab a limb, like a tree trunk limb. But Zack Sabre Jr. beat Bad Luck Fale. He lost to Hiroki Goto in the G1 too, so he's now wrestled Goto twice and lost both times. And he defeated Togi Makabe, and he lost to Tetsuya Naito, but would then avenge that loss in the first round of the New Japan Cup this year. And he lost to Yuji Nagata. I think that was Nagata's only win all tournament. And then he finished off the tournament by defeating Tomohiro Ishii. Then when we got to the Tokyo Dome this year, Zack Sabre Jr. was in the 6-man Tag Team Championship Gauntlet match. And he was teamed up with other Suzuki-gu members, Taichi and Iizuka. So to go from like a preliminary match where you're part of a team, not a singles wrestler, that was Zack Sabre Jr.'s Tokyo Dome show this year. And not even 3 months later now, he's established himself as a legitimate threat to the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. He's just the 2nd ever foreigner to win the New Japan Cup, just the 11th ever person. Giant Bernard, a.k.a. Matt Bloom, a.k.a. Lord Tensai, or Prince Albert. He was the first person, he was the 2nd person to win the Cup and the first foreigner to win the Cup. So it's just amazing that Zack Sabre Jr. was sort of a middle-of-the-pack guy, going 5-4 in the G1, not having much of a role at the Tokyo Dome show, although he was in the Tokyo Dome, and not really someone who's ever been considered a full-timer in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Like, he'll come over for the big tours over the last year, but they did a fantastic job. 14 days was not even 14 days, 12 days. March 9th to March 21st. In that window, everything changed for Zack Sabre Jr. He went from easily considered one of, if not the best European wrestler right now, to the absolute talk of the non-WWE wrestling world. Right now, you know. We'll see. Imagine if he wins it. Imagine if he's the guy to end Kazuchika Okada's historic record-breaking title reign. Like that, like when this title reign ends for Okada, it'll be a huge deal. And it's going to be a big deal for whoever does it. All right, let's go through the Strong Style Evolved lineup. This is tomorrow night. Or actually, that depends on when you're listening to this. It could be tonight. It could have been last night. I don't know. I don't know what you're doing right now. March 25th. I'm recording this on March 24th. And Strong Style Evolved. So most of these matches were just announced on Wednesday, Thursday, this week after the New Japan Cup Finals show. And first match, Roppongi 3K. So Sho and Yo teaming up with their mentor, Rocky Romero. Going up against the Ring of Honor six-man tag team champions, Kazarian, Christopher Daniels, and the new guy that they've taken on in their trio this year is Scorpio Sky. And then we've got Juice Robinson teaming with David Finlay, a guy they trained together much in the dojo. And they'll be going up against Hiroki Goto and Gato on the New Japan Cup Finals show. Juice Robinson picked up the pin on Hiroki Goto with the Pulp Friction, earning him a title match down the line likely. We should most likely find out more about what's going on with Juice's potential title match at Strong Style Evolved during this match or after this match. We've got Toru Yano and Chucky T going up against the Killer Elite Squad. The Killer Elite Squad defeated Toru Yano and Tomohiro Ishii at the New Japan Cup Finals show on Wednesday. Then after the match, they challenged Evil and Sonata for a rematch from their Tokyo Dome clash. Evil and Sonata took the titles from the Killer Elite Squad at the Tokyo Dome this year, and they have yet to get a rematch for that. However, Evil's out with a broken orbital bone. That was announced on February 20th, just after the Australian tour. Broken orbital bone can take weeks to months to heal, so it kind of depends on how broken that orbital bone was. Michael Elgin broke an orbital bone last year, 2 years ago, something like that, and he was out for a couple of months. So if it's the same deal, Evil will be back sometime in April, so they still would be able to do a match. Or if he's going to be out for longer, they might just strip him of the titles and give Killer Elite Squad somebody to wrestle for the vacant belts. We'll just have to see. We'll probably find out more at Strong Style Evolved in this match. Then we put out a separate video for this, as I knew subscribers to the site would find this match interesting. Gorillas of Destiny, Tama Tonga, and Tangaloa going up against Cody and Marty Scurll. So Cody, Marty Scurll, and Hangman Page. Well, definitely Hangman Page is kind of on Cody's side. And Marty Scurll has sort of shown signs of going Cody's side too, because at Honor Reigns, Kenny Omega kneed him in the face. And nobody likes to get kneed in the face. So it's the Bullet Club OGs versus the Elite. So you've got the based in New Japan Pro Wrestling Bullet Club, the OGs, Tama Tonga and Bad Luck Fale are Bullet Club OGs. Bad Luck Fale is not looking like he's on Strong Style Evolved, no. So Tama Tonga and Tangaloa against Cody and Marty Scurll. So we had seen on Being the Elite that the Gorillas of Destiny, that the Bullet Club OGs, it wasn't just the Gorillas of Destiny. They had even that new guy from Australia was there. In the locker room, they seemingly squashed their beef with the Young Bucks. But did they squash their beef with Cody, Marty Scurll, Hangman Page? I mean, the guys that are in Ring of Honor all the time. Do we really know what the Bullet Club OGs think about the Elite? I mean, the Young Bucks, while they are far more associated with the Elite, well, them and Kenny Omega are like the Elite. But they've sort of added in like Cody and Marty Scurll and Hangman Page. But the Young Bucks joined Bullet Club like just months after their inception. So while they're not OGs like Tama Tonga, Bad Luck Fale, Carl Anderson, and Prince Devitt are, they are close to OGs. They're like Bullet Club a few months laters. I don't know. So, I mean, we'll find out. We'll find out in this match just what's going on with the Bullet Club OGs and the Elite. And it should be interesting. So, it's a big match for Tama Tonga, I think. I think there's a big kind of push for Tama Tonga to take a larger role both in the Bullet Club faction and just in New Japan Pro Wrestling in general. There's a lot of Tama Tonga fans out there. So we'll see how they do against Cody and Marty Scurll. Then we have an 8-man tag. Hiroshi Tanahashi, Kushida, Taguchi, and Dragon Lee going up against LIJs. Naito, Sonata, Bushi, and Hiromu Takahashi. Then we got Jushin Liger going up against Will Ospreay. Will Ospreay, of course, filling in for an injured Rey Mysterio Jr. Even though Will Ospreay is the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion, this will be a non-title match. And Jushin Liger has, the last time he received a title shot for this title was in 2016. Kushida gave him a chance, but that was the first title shot he'd received since like 2011. But he is the all-time greatest junior heavyweight champion of all time, having won the title 10 times, defended it 31 times, and held it for a grand total of 2,245 days. Jushin Liger is the all-time king of this division, but Will Ospreay is the current king of this division. But what if Liger beats him? Wouldn't that put Liger in line for another title shot? Just his third in the last 7-8 years? And then the 7th match, setting up the main event from Sakura Genesis, Kazuchika Okada and Tomohiro Ishii going up against Suzuki-gun's Minoru Suzuki and Zack Sabre Jr., setting up the Zack Sabre Jr. Kazuchika Okada match at Sakura Genesis. The semi-main event, Jay White defending his IWGP United States Championship against Hangman Page. This is a big match for both guys. Hangman Page has really upped his stock in the last year. I think I saw some comments he had made where he was still working as a teacher up until he joined Bullet Club. I think, and once he joined Bullet, like he just started wrestling full time recently. He was teaching and wrestling on the side. And so getting a shot at the title, which is now so closely associated with the Long Beach shows, with New Japan Pro Wrestling in Long Beach, it's a big match for him. Jay White, he just beat Kenny Omega. He just beat the greatest wrestler in the world. He's got to build off that momentum. Obviously, it's going to be difficult to do that if you lose the title in your first defense. So, big match for both guys. And then, of course, the main event, Kota Ibushi and Kenny Omega, the Golden Lovers, going up against the Young Bucks. And it's not overly clear if this match is going to play into any title picture. Like, they've both mentioned that these teams are at heavyweight, so technically this match would take place in the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team division. But there's nothing that says, like, the winning team is going to move on and challenge for the titles or something. Especially since the title picture there appears just to be Killer Elite Squad and Evil and Sonata. And then we've only got 2 matches announced for Sakura Genesis on April 1st. So most likely early this week, after Strong Style Evolved, we will get a rundown for the Sakura Genesis show. So 2 championship matches have been announced. Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championships, Kanemaru and El Desperado from Suzuki-gun will defend against Roppongi 3K and Bushi and Hiromu Takahashi. So this was all set up in the New Japan Cup Finals show as the 3 teams had a big brawl. So a lot of triple threat tag team matches going on in that division right now. And, of course, the big match made on Wednesday, Kazuchika Okada defending against Zack Sabre Jr. I put out a little newsletter today where I go over all the title pictures in New Japan Pro Wrestling, how many title defenses each current champion has in their current reign and all time, as well as a little bit about who's sort of in the running for potential challenges. So you can check that out. That's all available at spoilerfreewrestling.com. That's all I want to cover for New Japan Pro Wrestling today. So let's now move into Ring of Honor. And Ring of Honor didn't do much this week. They've been off since March 10th. That was the date of their Las Vegas TV tapings that they held the night after their 16th anniversary show on March 9th. They did air episode 339 of Ring of Honor Television this week. So this aired on Honor Club, the Fight app, wherever Ring of Honor Television is also shown. So 3 matches, Coast to Coast defeated the Dogs. Then they traveled to Osaka, Japan for a first-round match in the Women of Honor tournament where Mayu Iwatani defeated HZK. And then in the main event, it was a 10-man match that had been set up the week before when the Kingdom and Christopher Daniels and Frankie Kazarian had set up a loose alliance. So if they can get their 2 teams together, then they could take out the Bullet Club. So they had a 10-man match here. Cody had all of the Bullet Club members wearing Bullet Club is Fine t-shirts. They would pick up the win over the Kingdom and SoCal Uncensored. And surprise, surprise, the 2 bad guy factions turned on each other after the match. And so ends the coalition to end Bullet Club in Ring of Honor. So their next event, the next event for Ring of Honor is Supercard of Honor 12, which takes place WrestleMania weekend, so April 7th at the UNO Lakefront Arena in New Orleans. There's still 1 or 2 matches which will be announced on Ring of Honor Television or need events from Ring of Honor Television to play out, but the matches that have been announced by Ring of Honor officially, there are some other matches that have been announced on Wikipedia, but that would be, they're contain TV spoilers. So the ones that have been officially announced, Hangman Page against Kota Ibushi. So now you've got Hangman Page, who might be coming into this match the United States champion if he beats Jay White at Strong Style Evolved. He goes up against Kenny Omega's Golden Lovers partner and Kota Ibushi. So that makes sense given you got Cody and Kenny Omega later on in the show. Then you got 2 tough mean guys in Punishment Martinez and Tomohiro Ishii. Punishment Martinez is a guy Ring of Honor has been pushing to the top for the last little while. He won the Survival of the Fittest tournament last year. However, he was defeated by Dalton Castle in a Ring of Honor World title match. Then we've got the 6-man tag team championships as SoCal Uncensored, Kazarian, Christopher Daniels, and Scorpio Sky. They'll defend the titles they won March 9th from the Hung Bucks, and they'll defend them against the Kingdom. And I'm just now realizing that match was set up on Ring of Honor Television this week. They are the 2 teams that brawled with each other after losing to the Bullet Club. So that match makes sense too. Then the World Tag Team Championships are on the line. This match was just announced yesterday, I think. The Briscoes, who won the titles from the Motor City Machine Guns on March 9th, they will take on Jay Lethal and Hiroshi Tanahashi. Interesting match there. Then the Women of Honor Championship will be not declared, but given to someone, awarded to someone even, as the finals of the Women of Honor tournament will take place. Then I'm assuming that Cody versus Kenny Omega is the main event. But I don't know if Ring of Honor, I don't know. I'm sure at some point they've had a world title match not be the main event of a big card. But the Ring of Honor World Championship will be defended as Dalton Castle defends against Marty Scurll. That'll be a big match. And then, of course, Kenny Omega versus Cody in what should be a great match. But then after this match, we really kind of find out what's next. Like, everything's been building towards Kenny Omega and Cody exploding. And Ring of Honor wanted to have them explode, over WrestleMania weekend. And it might not be their biggest show of the year in terms of size, but they get it in front of a lot of people. Obviously, it's a big show for them, and it'll air on Honor Club. It's not a pay-per-view. So even if you're doing month to month on Honor Club, I believe you will still be able to see the show. Now, from there, Ring of Honor takes a week off. Then they are in Pittsburgh on April 14th for Steel City Excellence, which will be a set of TV tapings. And they haven't announced any matches ahead of time for Steel City Excellence, but 3 big matches, or at least 2 big matches and one, hey, that's a decent-sized match, have been announced for Masters of the Craft in Columbus, Ohio on April 15th. So Jay Lethal and Jonathan Gresham are scheduled to go against each other. Gresham, Jonathan, he's somebody who it seems like could be on the rise in Ring of Honor. And definitely if he beats Jay Lethal, he'll be on the rise in Ring of Honor. He lost to Lethal at Honor Reigns, but he suffered a knee injury during the match that slowed him down. And so now the idea is, can Jonathan Gresham defeat the former Ring of Honor World Champion, the former Ring of Honor TV Champion, Jay Lethal, when he's 100% healthy? Then we've got a blow-off to a feud. It's sort of like Cody's secondary feud. He's feuding with Kenny Omega, but then he's also kind of been feuding with Matt Taven. The feud with Matt Taven has played out more on Ring of Honor television. Taven stole Cody's Ring of Honor. Probably called him a Melvin as well. Which no one wants to be called a Melvin, So this will be a first blood match, which is interesting. Cody's bled once in a match because Cody's entire career up until this recent period where he's been outside of WWE was spent entirely in WWE. So he never bled. And of course now he's dyed his hair blonde, so it looks awesome when he does. Or, well, I don't know if it looks awesome, but so they're going to have a first blood match. That'll be great. And then a Ring of Honor World title match has been announced for Masters of the Craft as well. And it's guaranteed to be a world title match no matter what happens at Supercard of Honor. At Supercard of Honor, Dalton Castle is going to defend the title against Marty Scurll. But on April 15th at Masters of the Craft, which will also be available on Honor Club, there will be a 4-way elimination match between Dalton Castle, Marty Scurll, Punishment Martinez, and the Beer City Bruiser. It's a defy or deny match, meaning the last person to be eliminated cannot challenge for the title again, while the other person is champion, So say Dalton Castle and Marty Scurll are the last 2 left in this elimination match, and Marty Scurll eliminates Dalton Castle to win the title. Dalton Castle can't challenge for the title until Marty Scurll loses the title to somebody else. Those are the rules of the defy or deny match. And it's guaranteed to be a world title match because either Dalton Castle or Marty Scurll will walk into the match as champion depending on what happens at Supercard of Honor. And there are no other title matches in between. So a lot of cool stuff coming up for Ring of Honor. And it's a long way off, but September 1st is Bullet Club's All In show. And a couple of names were announced this week for All In. And they are Pentagon and Rey Fenix. The Lucha Brothers will be there. And so now this is the confirmed list of all people, places, and things that have declared they are all in for September 1st. So you've got Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, Cody, Hangman Page, Marty Scurll. Of course, you know those. The Chicago Sears Center Arena is all in. The city of Chicago is all in. Pentagon, Phoenix, possibly a local Cracker Barrel that is nearby. The local Cracker Barrel might be all in. Stephen Amell, who plays not the Green Hornet, the something. He plays the Green something. Stephen Amell. And Tessa Blanchard. I hadn't heard about that one, but Tessa Blanchard, who some of you may know is the daughter of Tully Blanchard. And here's a fun thing. And the stepdaughter of Tully Blanchard's lifelong rival, Magnum TA. Magnum TA married Tully Blanchard's ex-wife and is the stepfather of Tully Blanchard's daughter. I mean, you know, hey. So that's all in September 1st. The Elite also announced they have scheduled StarCast, which is basically a convention for the day before. And it sounds like tickets for that are going very well. No word yet on an on-sale date for tickets. And that's the big one that's everyone is waiting for. As soon as tickets go online for this show, we can start to second guess if they overestimated or underestimated their drawing ability. Based on how well the New Japan Pro Wrestling shows did in Long Beach, the size of the Chicago market, and just how many t-shirts these guys sell, I think they'll be fine. Another point that was brought up to me is these guys probably have access to their t-shirt sales numbers and where they're coming from geographically. And so I think they're thinking, okay, if all of these people are buying our t-shirts in Chicago, if we get a percentage of them to come to our show. So I've said it before, I am guaranteeing a sellout. Guaranteeing a sellout for this show. My first reason for that is just because I think they are as popular as they think they are. And my second reason is because their fans won't let it be a flop. If the tickets go on sale and they've only sold 6,000, and it's starting to look like it's not going well, the fans of this style of wrestling, of like non-WWE wrestling, won't let this event fail because it would be like admitting that non-WWE wrestling can't succeed at that level, at a 10,000 seat arena level. There's enough guys and ladies and people of all genders on the spectrum. There's enough people that would say, you know what? I want to support this. Yeah, it's a 5-hour drive away. Whatever. We'll get a hotel. We'll make a weekend of it. You know, there's enough people to do that. And the conventions go well. Like, they'll be fine. All in, guaranteed sellout. Guaranteed. And just a few more things before we pack it in for this week. Look at this, 43 minutes. House of Hardcore, Tommy Dreamer's promotion, has a big show tonight. Well, they had a show last night in St. James, New York, I want to say. And I'm correct, in St. James, New York. Not sure about the results from last night, but they have a live show on Twitch tonight. If you haven't been following House of Hardcore, it's a personal favorite promotion of mine. Really, I've really been enjoying the shows that they've put out on Twitch, like their live shows. They do weekly episodic shows as well, which is basically ECW style promos and an older match that the promotion has put on. And when I say like older ECW style promos, I mean it's a camera facing the person and they're just giving a promo. And it's actually like the shows are pretty good. I haven't seen them all, but I checked out one. Like I learned like Crazy Steve is legally blind. Like I didn't know that. But and then all of a sudden you're like, go Crazy Steve. Come on, now I'm cheering for the guy. I don't know. But anyway, House of Hardcore 39 goes tonight in the 2300 Arena in Philadelphia. Arguably the biggest match in the promotion's history will take place in the main event when Nick Aldis defends the NWA World Heavyweight Championship against Tommy Dreamer. Tommy Dreamer is in the ECW arena tonight, challenging for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. Arguably the biggest match in House of Hardcore history, and arguably the biggest match in the NWA World Heavyweight Championships era since they've been owned by Billy Corgan. So, big match there. Nick Aldis is doing the Aldis Crusade, his attempt to defend the NWA title 20 times over a 60-day period. Just before we get to the Aldis Crusade, though, I just want to run down the other matches which have been announced for House of Hardcore 39 on Twitch tonight. So it will be the second round in the Twitch TV title tournament. Now, a couple of weeks ago, Austin Aries, who had advanced to the second round, I'm pretty sure, they announced he had to withdraw from the tournament. So the guy who's collecting belts won't be collecting this belt. And I don't think Austin Aries is on this show. Austin Aries is very busy these days. He's in Impact. He's in Ring of Honor. So we've got Kenny from the Squad going up against Swoggle. Then we've got Alex Reynolds going up against Crazy Steve. Dan Moff going up against Bull James. And then Willie Mack versus Brian Cage. And those two are no stranger to each other. So that's all going down in the 2300 Arena in Philadelphia. House of Hardcore 39 live on Twitch. Their next event after this will be, surprise, surprise, WrestleMania weekend. House of Hardcore is getting in on the action too. They will have a short 1-hour show, House of Hardcore 40, from 11 p.m. to 11:59 p.m. I'm not sure if that's part of WrestleCon. That might be part of WrestleCon, but House of Hardcore just kind of getting in a quick 1-hour show over WrestleMania weekend. So if you happen to be going to New Orleans, the show begins 1 hour after TakeOver ends. So if you haven't gotten enough wrestling after seeing TakeOver and you've got WrestleMania the next day, House of Hardcore will be fun. And they've advertised a few names to be there. Tommy Dreamer, of course, Carlito. Carlito, I think, is yet to be on Twitch, or he hasn't been on Twitch much, but he's a regular in House of Hardcore. Now, kind of along the same lines of House of Hardcore, just have a little announcement as it concerns spoiler-free wrestling. Starting a new show on April 6th. And right now I'm just announcing it in these weekly longer shows, which are more for, the guys that listen to everything that we do. So these shows will begin on April 6th, 2018. And what we're going to do is we are going to relive the entire history of ECW 25 years late. ECW's first ever television show aired on April 6th, 1993. So almost 25 years ago. In 2 weeks, it'll be 25 years to the day. So we're going to go through every week, each episode of ECW television, and I can provide some context in terms of what else is going on in wrestling at the time. I'll be reading through old editions of the Wrestling Observer newsletter from 1993, so we can I mean, I don't want to spoil the shows as they go, but we will get out non-spoiler information to help enjoy the show. So if you haven't already, this will be exclusively on our YouTube channel. So if you haven't already subscribed to our YouTube channel, subscribe. And those will be happening. The first one comes out April 6th. So the first show we're just going straight into it. So once the video's put out, go watch the first episode of ECW TV, or you can watch it now and just wait for the thing to come out. But we will review it every day on the day that episode aired, starting April 6th, 1993. Your only way to find out about this ahead of time was to listen to this hour-long show. All right. Okay, so that's going to do it for today. I did want to go more into the National Wrestling Alliance and the Aldous Crusade, as well as what went down in Impact Wrestling this week, as well as the plans for the Lucha Underground Impact Wrestling show. But this show has been quite long enough, so we are going to sign off for this week. This Week in WWE will be coming up tomorrow. Thank you so much to everybody who have supported these shows, and we are getting closer and closer to our goal of 1,000 subscribers. And I want to thank you so much, everyone who has. Hey, if you have friends who like wrestling, tell them about this show. Tell them about the website. Trying to do a lot of innovative stuff with it, trying to get more content out. So I really appreciate all the support from all of you. So thanks again. Thank you for subscribing. I will talk to you tomorrow on This Week is WWE. Thanks again. I'm the Guy from Spoiler Free Wrestling.